In this video, I will show how we do weekly Google AdWords optimization. We usually do this to ensure we can catch errors that we may have in the campaigns, different ad groups and ads, just to make sure their performance is the best we can get, because that ensures we spend less on Google ads and we optimize the profit. So we try to look at things that can help us reduce that cost and also get us more performance from the ads. We want to generate more ads for our clients. So I'm going to do for one campaign for our one of our clients, the Charleston client. We have I'm going to do for this campaign. So we start from this ad groups tab, and I ensure everything here is sorted by the cost per conversion column, and then I'm going to start looking at the high cost per conversion to see if they make sense. So this one indicates we have one phone call and one conversion, so these would be very expensive for just that, for just one conversion. Because our leads, we sell them for this particular client is $25, so we are at a loss here if we are going to end up spending as much as this for just one conversion. So this one is definitely expensive, and I would like to open that particular ad group to look at it in more detail and see what could be the problem there. Try to see if I can catch any mistake there. Then for this one indicates, considering our cost per lead 25, this one indicates we are still not at a loss, but we can still, I'm just looking at anything above 20. But just to give an example, when this one shows two conversions and the cost per conversion based on these two conversion is $18, and here we have three phone calls here indicate that the third phone call could be another conversion data that is missing here. So there's that possibility, but you can't be 100% sure, but we take that into account sometimes when trying to determine if whatever cost per conversion we have here is correct. So if we have three conversions, then this would be wrong. So we would have to divide this total cost by 3 to know the actual cost per conversion. It would be slightly lower than this. So assuming this is so this is at 37.01, you divide by 3, you're going to get lower than it. Whatever you get would be lower than 15 as the cost per conversion. So that is something to look out for. But in this case, because I'm only interested in those above 20, I'm not going to look into that. So I'm just going to check the details of this one, and I opened it here. And when I come here, I look at the quality score, just to because the quality score gives you an idea of what is happening. If a quality score is good, it means you are likely to spend less on that particular ad group or the ads that you run there, because the higher the quality score, the lower you spend. So if the quality score is very poor, you end up spending more on your campaigns. And here I'm going to look at ads next. When I look at the ads here, we have two ads. One of them has been paused. So we usually pause ads that we think are not performing as we expect, and then leave the one that is performing at its best. So we usually look at the ad copy here. First thing here, we have the URL, which should be optimized. To be optimized means it should have the keyword that is the name of the ad group here. Should have the same keyword, and I can see the keyword is there. and the keyword should also be in the description. Line 1 here, it's here, we have it. And then we have this is the way we do the ad copy. So the combination that we think converts a lot is number 1, local, plus the keyword, and just below it this call to action here, same day service, call us now. That's what we put. The other combination often works best for us, but we still try to do split testing. The reason we have to add is to do split testing to see which one performs better than the other. So in this case, the first ad appears to have been recently created in order to make it better than what we had here, what we paused here. Because looking at what we paused here, we paused an ad. We paused an ad that was we paused an ad here, and we need to see why we paused it. We had 4 clicks and 1 conversion, so that's not a good conversion rate at 25%. That's part of the reason. And the average cost per click was this high. So considering this average cost per click and the low rate of conversion, that is a possible reason why we paused this compared to, there isn't any other to compare, so we have to wait until we get data for this one. So at least here, even if we have a very high cost, as we have noted, since we created this new ad, we have to give it time to see if it's going to break down the cost, because this one is the one responsible for this cost that we see. This cost 43.45. If we come here, what we see here, it's the same. The cost here and the cost per conversion the same here. So that's the reason of this. This is the ad that gave us that cost and that high rate of cost per conversion. So since we paused it, we're not going to have that problem anymore. So at least up to this point, I know that problem has been solved, but I have to confirm the landing page for these ads is also optimized. We should have at least the keyword here, we should have it there around 8 times. That way we can be sure the page is well optimized, because if it's not well optimized, we are going to get a low quality score, and that is going to increase our cost as well. So making sure we have keyword optimization on the page, that is also helps us to lower the costs involved. So this one we have it as much as 11 times, so that's good enough. So that page is optimized. So we already did something for this particular ad group, paused this ad and created this ad, and that's what we have to give time so that we can see what will come out of that, if that's going to improve, bring down the cost. So that's done. So if there were many other ad groups with the cost per conversion higher than 20, I would have done the same, just opened each and looked into more details. So after looking at the cost per conversion, the ones that are very high, the next thing to do is to sort by clicks. And when I sort by clicks, I move down up to the point where we have 3 clicks. So we want to see for 3 or more clicks if we have any zero conversion, so zero cost per conversion, that where we have 3 clicks and no conversion. So we move up here looking for any cost per conversion that is still at 0, like this one. And when you look at this is now why looking at the phone calls is important as well. So when we look at here, we see here we have 0 conversions and we have 6 clicks. So that will be very bad, would be very costly if we didn't have conversions. But when we have these 7 phone calls, what it tells us is that we may have as many as 7 conversions. Even if not 7, we could have, let's say, even up to 5. So it's unlikely that we're going to have 7 phone calls and we never add a single conversion. So if we had 7 conversions, you would divide these 51.75 with 7 to know what would be the cost per conversion. So it would be very low. That would be very, very low. So in this case, this ad group is doing well. There's no problem if it gave us 7 conversions. So that one I'm going to leave alone. Look for other zeros up here. There's no other zero. So now I'm done in the ad groups section. So the next step is to move to the other sections like settings and locations. I start with locations. And here I'm also going to look at the cost per conversion and also the clicks, where we have 3 or more clicks and no conversions. So since I have it already sorted by clicks, I can just move down and start looking from where we have more than three or more clicks. I can start here. Then uh, I look at now at the cost per conversion going up, going up, going up, and there's no zero there. So for 3 or more clicks, we never had any 0 conversions. So it means where we had 3 or more clicks, at least we had some conversions. Then now I sort by the cost per conversion. And on this screen, locations, what happens is that for different cost per conversion, we try to make bid adjustments. If we think the cost per conversion is very low, we try to increase our bids upwards so that we can attract more searches, more leads. And if we think our cost per conversion is going very high, we try to adjust it downwards, negative adjustments. So here we have the cost per conversion as 17, and for that one we applied already a negative bid adjustments of 20. This one for 15, a negative bid adjustment of 40. When this negative 40 was applied, this cost was probably 40 or 50. Maybe I think it was around let's say in the range of 25 and upwards when we applied this one. So it could have been that after applying this one we got some more clicks or more conversions, and now our cost per conversion is coming down as a result of applying these negative bid adjustments. So that's why looking at this data, you have to try to think about what could have possibly happened in order to understand why we would have a negative 20 percent bid adjustment for a cost of conversion that is 17, and for 15, which is lower than 17, we have negative 40. So this indicates that it came down because we never apply negative 40 for 15 cost per conversion. So that is why we have that kind of data now. This one is at 15. For those ones we can apply 20, negative 20. Here we have 15, we can apply negative 20. 15, I can apply now negative 20 here. I choose decrease and put 20 there. So that's how we do it. 14. At 14 we are not at a loss really. But here I could apply a negative bid adjustment of 10. Even at 15 we're not at a loss, but so it depends on the campaign and what we are doing with the client. So for this particular client, they are already getting a lot of leads, so we are not very aggressive. If it was a campaign where we are looking for more leads than what we have, I wouldn't have made these bid adjustments, because even at 15 and 14 we are not making um, any loss there. But we just want to adjust it to make sure we are generating the right amount of leads that the client can absorb, and that way we can spend less and make more. Because if we send them more leads than they can afford to work on, then we are going to also lose in that way. They are going to receive many leads and they are not be able to work on them. They are going to probably dispute some of these leads or tell us to pause campaigns and things like that. Then this one we can leave at 13. Um, the ideal these leads are sold at $25, so the ideal cost per conversion should be 12.5 at least. And what we have here is an average of everything, so it's not, we are not doing very bad. But the ones at 13 we may not need to make any adjustments, same as the ones at 12, the ones at 11. If this is a campaign where we were looking for more leads, the ones at 11 would do a positive bid adjustment of 5. But for now we won't do that. So we have now these ones at 10 and below with some positive bid adjustments already made, so that is correct. So that's how that's what we do here. We already looked at the clicks, we already looked at the cost per conversion. From there we go to the add schedule screen, and here we look at the schedule for the different days of the week when we are running the campaigns. We looked at the locations screen, and now we are looking at the add schedule screen, because Google charges ads based on location and also the time of the day when you are running. So for different times of the day they have different rates, for different location they have different rates, so you have to optimize it, also taking all that into account. So for here we look at each day at a time, we sort by day and time. So for Monday up to this point here, we look at everything here for Monday. Cost per conversion 0. We only have one click there, so that's okay. We can leave it until we get more clicks and know what is happening here, whether we are going to get conversions and at what cost. On the second time block, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. we have no data there. The next time block, 11 a.m. to noon, we have this cost per conversion, which is okay, although we have a negative bid adjustment, so it probably came down after we made this negative bid adjustment as well. And here we have 14.31, which is still okay, considering we have the negative bid adjustment there. 12 is okay the way it is. So for Monday we may not need to make any change. Okay, we have the last block time here, 16, with a negative bid adjustment of 30. Something we may want to do here, since this is a 2-hour time block from 3 p.m. to 5 a.m. We may want to break up this one. We try to create an additional time block if the entire schedule for the day allows us to do that. If there is a time block we want to get rid of, we could create 2 out of this time block. So we have to try to identify that. So 9 to 10, we don't want to get rid of that because we only have 1 click so far and not enough data. For the second time block, not enough data. For Monday 11 a.m. to noon, we have a negative bid adjustment. It's a 1-hour time block, not very bad, so we don't want necessarily to get rid of that. And for noon to 1 at 14, still looking okay. This one to 3 is very good. So even though you may want to break up this one, we only have a limit of 6 time blocks and we have used all of them. So one thing we can do just to test, at this point I take a screenshot just to make sure if I want to put everything back the way it is, like the time block and the negative bid adjustment, I'm not going to have problems. So I'm going to just make note of that here. I have my screenshot here to refer to if I need. So this time block 3 to 5, I may want to look at it 3 to 5 on Monday, 3 to 5. So I may want to look at if there is any existing data for 3 to 4 and see how that looks like. So here it is 3 to 4, there's no data here. Let me look at 4 to 5, Monday 4 to 5, save that one. I need to save that again. So now it's saved, still no data. So I can as well leave this one, but it would have been better if I'm also running 4 to 5 as I run 3 to 4, so that we can compare once we get data. But so far we may need to put back 3 to 5 because it's still not very high, although we have a negative bid adjustment, and when you have a negative bid adjustment the ads do not show most of the time. So actually what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave 4 to 5 so that we can try to get data at that time and see what happens. Then we come to Tuesday, come and check for Tuesday. This is how Tuesday looks like. So 12 is good, 7 is good, 9 is good. Here we have no data, so Tuesday is good. Then for Wednesday, no data yet there, no enough data there. And, although this one, if they get at 3 clicks without conversions, we may have to do something. is at 15 with a negative bid adjustment. We may leave that one for now. 0 0. These ones we are testing now. We are trying to find between 3 and 4 and 4 and 5 which one is cheaper. So eventually we may end up with one time block there and leave the expensive one. Here we have used our 6 time blocks maximum, and there is no need of changing anything there. So now we go to Thursday. Look at Thursday. The first one, there is no data. The average CPC is still good. Here we have a high cost of conversion here, cost per conversion, and we have 3 clicks on one conversion. We have to make a negative bid adjustment here. This is a 1 hour time block, and that's the minimum we can have for a time block, 1 hour. If it were 2 hours, we'd look at the possibilities of breaking it up into each individual 1 hour time block. So but now we can't do that. So what we can possibly do for now is a negative bid adjustment of say 30. 13 is good, 5 is good. These ones we are still testing. So we may have to keep these negative bid adjustments, but in case there will be any other time block that we need to break apart to check, then we would get rid of this one. But for now, since we don't have anything to replace it, we can just keep it. So we are done with Thursday there. We come to Friday. So for Friday here we have cost per conversion. This is good with an adjustment there. 11 is okay, 8 with an adjustment is okay. So everything is okay for Friday there. So those are the different screens or sections on the AdWords that we look at. So when we are optimizing each campaign, we come to the ad group section. We sort by cost per conversion. We also sort by clicks. Where the cost per conversion has higher than 20, we open the ad group to check what is happening and what is possibly making it have that higher cost per conversion. We also look at the clicks, and if there's any ad group with more than 3 clicks and is yet to give us any conversion, we also open that to see if there's anything wrong in the ads, whether the ad has an optimized URL, an optimized landing page with enough keywords, and if we have the keyword in the descriptions of the ad, if the ad copy is good, and looking at anything that could help us make a decision on what to do. Sometimes we end up reducing the default max CPC to tell Google how much we are willing to spend for that to get clicks or conversions from that particular ad. So when you set your default max CPC, you are telling Google how much you are willing to spend. So we also do that, but that we do as the last resort after looking at any other problems you could have with the ad group. We fix all of that before we come to the default max CPC. Because for the default max CPC, when we create these ad groups, we always start at the lowest, around 5. Then we increase depending on the impressions, the clicks, and the data that we start getting. We get an idea of how much to set as the default max CPC. So we increase them gradually as part of the optimization process, the monthly optimization process. What I'm doing here is a weekly exercise where I'm just trying to catch the some of the mistakes we have So after this screen, we usually come to the settings and we look at locations, and then we look at these are the different locations that we have. If we see the cost per conversion is very high and we are not willing to continue paying that, and the bid adjustments may not even work, especially for the zip codes, since they are very small areas, we usually get rid of them. An example of that would be something like this one. Not that one, sorry. This is one that I got rid of from one of the campaigns. So we had 5 clicks and no conversion. So in that case, that was becoming expensive, already having spent $27.69 there. I just got rid of that area, so I removed it. So you just select it, you remove, then you confirm. So that's how I removed that one. So that's the other thing that we may end up doing if we find any of these is expensive. Then we look at the ad schedule, the different days. If we need if we have any 2 hour time blocks that are expensive, that we need to break up to the individual time blocks, 1 hour time blocks, so that we can identify which hour out of the two is more expensive once we get the data now. So we break it up so that we can let it run. Then after some time, we see the data that is coming in. It gives us an idea of which one of those hours is expensive. So once we know that, we get rid of it. Then we create space for another time block to test another time block that may have a similar issue. So those are some of the things that we do on this task. And that's just for the weekly optimization. For the monthly optimization, we'll go into more details.